With yeah, creation. Yeah, yeah. D Tyrell, very happy with that. So good to see.
Good to go.
Good to go. That's your cue, ma'am.
Ready. Good afternoon, and welcome to this September the 10th, 2024 advisory board meeting of the absolutely terrific Parks and Recreation of the county. We'll begin the meeting by just going around the room, starting with our fine director here, Allison Davies, just to tell the folks at home who you are and your main responsibilities.
Yep. Allison Davies, I am the director for Parks and Recreation over 2 years now, so it's been great. Good things happen.
And
I'm Anne Cook. I'm a member of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
with an outstanding interest in greenways. Yes, ma'am.
Very much.
Get that out here.
Joseph Goochman, project manager for Buncombe County Parks and Rec.
Adam Zingy, our office manager for Buncombe County Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
Thomas Gold, Principal Park Planner for Buncombe County Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
David Burdett, I'm a member of the advisory board for Parks and Rec. I represent Eastern part.
Thank you very much.
I'm Liz Whitwater, and I'm the Recreation Operations Manager for Buncombe County Parks and
We'll get more from you later. Yeah. Andrew Johnson, member of the advisory board.
Kevin Cochran, board member. I represent the.
Got it. May I have a motion to approve the May minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We'll turn it over to us.
Sounds good. So I actually want to start by welcoming Liz Whitwater, who is our new Recreation Operations Manager, and giving Liz opportunity to just briefly introduce herself, where she's come from, and what her focus is.
So yeah, I think just about 1 month into the position, it's been great. The team has been great so far. So Recreation Operations Manager, I'm over programming in particular. So whereas Thomas is on the park side, I'll be doing programming. Have a lot of goals and things to work on. Some things they'll be looking at coming up are things like cost recovery, sponsorship. In terms of where I came from, most recently I was at the Nanahill Outdoor Center for 9 years. I was the sales director there for the last 4. I've worked in community mental health, wilderness therapy, environmental education, outdoor recreation, variety of experiences. I am an avid mountain biker and whitewater kayaker. Also enjoy playing sports as well. If anyone has any questions for me, please let me know.
Any questions? You covered a lot of ground there, young lady. I guarantee you we will tap into everything you mentioned.
Awesome.
It's on record. You said you were good.
You hold us to it.
Yes, we hold you to it.
Yeah. So very excited to have Liz with that. Wanted to let you all know that it is budget season. We are already beginning our budgetary process. Staff have had our first meeting to talk about IT requests as well as looking at capital requests for facilities that we've got. So we will be going through that process. Also having conversations high level about what we're looking to do in terms of growth of the department and any personnel that it will be requesting. I think what I would like to do at the next meeting, if I may, is would like to do kind of a high level overview of as a department where we see ourselves growing. We've really working on creating two distinct divisions. One is the Parks Division and one is the Recreation Division, so that we could have real focused looks at not only parks and facilities and greenways and open space and the building end of things, but also a robust programming, events, look at the way that we do operationally, how we manage community agreements and collaborations, and that would be under Liz that. So very excited to have those positions that we could really start honing in on that. And then as we move forward with making our budget requests, all of that will be to build out those two areas so that we can begin having some real impact in the community with projects and programs that we're building. We were granted a new core community outreach and recreation experiences vehicle. So we are on hold for that vehicle to come in. Once that vehicle actually comes into the department, I believe the order was made and there were some issues with it. So we are now anticipating that vehicle hopefully within 8 months. But the thought process is that vehicle will be right. Hopefully what we'll do is we'll wrap that vehicle and then it'll be a much larger vehicle to be able to bring programs out into community, out into the rural areas and out into areas that are, seen as marginalized and underserved, going to community housing groups to bring recreation to those. So we're very excited. Those are some of the things. There's a lot of wonderful things that are happening, but some folks on my team will be giving those updates. And so I will yield unless you have a specific question.
I'm not gonna steal their thunder.
I'm gonna try to not. I do usually I do. I'm gonna try to let them have their thunder today.
And I love it when Thomas thunders, so tell us all about it.
I'm not gonna thunder either. First we'll talk system-wide master plan updates. I heard a little bit of discussion going on about that earlier, but our next meeting, public meeting, is on October 3rd. That's gonna be at the Weaverville Town Hall. It's gonna be a visiting workshop public meeting, so there will be some table talk exercises that our consultants will be walking some of the people that are in attendance through. Just for you all, your information, prior to the actual public meeting, they're gonna be doing the same thing with park staff. So it's gonna be a full kind of day for park staff into the evening, but the public participation, public engagement portion will be starting at 5. I believe 5. We're meeting with them on Thursday of this week to hammer out all of the details. So we will be sending out a kind of more detailed agenda after that meeting on Thursday. We're still kind of on track. We've been with our public meetings and stuff, we've been kind of dodging election season and some other county planning efforts that are going on. So we've really been coordinating with other departments and our department about when exactly these meetings can go on. However, we still are projecting that we would be going before the commission for adoption late winter, early spring of next year. So for those 3 master ones. For the Greenway projects, it's kind of interesting how we have 3 different Greenway projects at various stages of development, yet they're all kind of in a similar place at the moment, and that is like on pause due to landowner coordination. So I'll start with the Inca Heritage Trail. We have obtained our 25% design set for the Inca Heritage Trail, ready to submit to DOT. Prior to doing that, we'd like to get landowner approval, sign off. We don't want to waste anyone's time when we're doing these reviews with NCDOT because they're quite intensive, take a lot of time. So we want to make sure we have our landowners on board with the alignment that we're submitting. So we reapproached Inca Partners. At which point we were told that any landowner approval of that particular greenway alignment would be contingent upon Inca Partners receiving money to pave their parking lots at the Bob Lewis Ballpark. They are hoping to do that in the form of a grant that they have in with the TDA currently. That announcement will be coming next week, I believe. Is that correct, Allison?
Yes.
So hopefully the grant is awarded. Inca Partners gets their money to pay the parking lot, and we're submitting to the NCDOT for 25% design approval on our Inca Heritage Trail sooner than later. But until then, we're on pause for the design of that project. For Woodfin Highway 251, Woodfin Greenway Highway 251, we're kind of in a similar place with MSD. You may recall, I've been talking about the alignment at MSD for quite some time now. We've been engaged with MSD for over 8 months now and working with them to meet all of the demands that they have about obtaining an alignment through their property, since we are no longer able to cross Beaver Dam Creek. We have been unable to come to a solution there, but we do have another meeting with them next week, next Friday, I believe, to continue those discussions, and some higher decision makers are coming to the table, so we're hopeful that we can come to a resolution on that alignment sooner than later as well. And then thirdly, the Beaver Dam Creek alignment. We have actually, it's like the last project that we started, but we've already submitted our 25% design set, so that's already ahead of the Inca Heritage Trail. However, the developer that owns the main piece of land for that alignment is planning to submit a site plan to the town of Woodfin, which kind of conflicts in a couple of areas with our previously discussed and approved alignment with them. So we're working through what all of that entails now. And to further complicate things in that particular project, their civil design team basically are no longer with the developer for one reason or the other. So they're in the process of rehiring a whole new civil design team. So we've already had initial coordination meetings with their new lead civil designer. And we're following back up with them in a month after he has had time to review our plans and proposed kind of solutions for the areas of conflict. Yes, Amy?
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
What is the developer doing on, that's the old landfill, right?
Correct.
What's he doing on that property?
The site plan we've seen that is public knowledge through some NCDOT submittals is multi-family housing development.
Okay.
Yeah. So the parcel.
He's open to the greenway.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a couple of areas where their site plan conflict with our greenway alignment. Like I said, we had previously discussed with them, shown what we were proposing. They're all good to go. And then we have just recently seen the site plan that there's 2 areas that conflict. They're still in support of the greenway. However, we just have to work out what the design solutions are for those 2 areas of conflict. That's where we are. Beaverview, we are pursuing our ORLIP grant. I believe we have greater direction from county administration on exactly what our ask is there. The goalpost has kind of shifted a couple of times based on kind of Southern Appalachian Highland conservancies like needs based on the philanthropist that they're working with that is the current owner of the property. So we've been working with SAHC and also county staff just to understand how we can make this thing happen, how we can turn this thing into a county park. We believe we have clear direction on that now. So full steam ahead. We're hoping to receive our notice to proceed with the grant application. Is that October of this year or November?
It's November.
November, the 1st of November. So we applied to apply. Hopefully they grant us the ability to apply. Yeah. So hopefully they give us the good news in November and we'll share that with you, whenever we receive that, so.
And if I could just specify on that grant, so the Orla grant, that outdoor recreation legacy partnership grant. The way that it works is the state of North Carolina is actually the applicant, we are the sponsor, and so they will submit on behalf of us to the federal government. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
And that's not the only one they're asking.
In I don't know that.
Usually there are a couple, like this most recent
Yeah.
round of them, there was two, I think, awarded to North Carolina.
Yeah.
So usually there are multiple within the state, but we don't know who the other applicants are.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear just a down and dirty discussion about the total money and how we envision that huge amount's gonna come together.
Sure, I can give that to you right this second, but I would, yeah, like. We have very general kind of numbers, but I'd be happy to put all that together and present it at the
That'd be
next
great,
meeting.
because that's the kind of question I get.
Yep.
How is the county going to handle that? I'm just gonna say it, can I say it?
Yeah.
Looking at the staff we have, the money that we have, the grants that we're in process of getting or not getting, who the partners are. How it's all gonna come together. Citizens are wanting to know when and how and, you know,
Yeah, I agree.
inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, and I mean, largely you probably haven't heard any of that from the county just yet, because like I said, the goalposts kind of have been moving.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, it's. I have the same questions. A lot of times. It's really starting to come more into focus now, so I think that we are at a point where we can update you and provide something from that for it.
It's, it's anybody can handle it, you know.
Well, I'm curious, you said about the Inca Heritage Trail, if they don't pay for the ballpark, does that have a major impact on what happens? Let's say that they don't get the money to pay the ballpark, what does that mean as far as the trail is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, as far as we know, Inca Partners has told us that approval of the Greenway alignment is contingent upon them receiving money to pay the parking lots of Buffalo's ballpark. So it was explicitly stated as such.
And that's a TDA request.
Currently, it's in the form of a TDA request, yes, yeah. And he does have a current application in, and they're making their decisions next week on the grants that they are approving.
They went through the phase one, so for the way the TDA works, you have a phase one and then a phase two, so made it through phase one, they're in phase two, and then they were having this up. What do they? I don't know the answer to that.
It's a big parking lot. I get what they call. There's two of them, there's an upper parking lot, and lower parking lot, the lower parking lot's like 15% paid.
Yeah.
It's big. I didn't know they make a lot of money on the weekend too, so.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, they have some sustainability concerns with their parking lots and greenway impacts. And then they also, I mean, their pitch to the TDA, right, is they're gonna be able to, you know, attract bigger, better tournaments for the county in doing so, so.
I want your greenway to go through, but they already have the tournaments here. The parks will be packed during the games. It'll just be nicer than my car.
So that's all the planning updates that I have.
God bless you.
And we will bring a comprehensive deep review, that we're in a good place, I thank you for.
Yes, not for asking us.
It's rather be like carrying up that. Or that was just gonna be for application.
Well, right, for Orla, or
No,
or the overview of what. No, I think we can give you a big broad overview of like the steps and what is being asked. And one of the things that is being asked is we're gonna need to project out what is an operating budget gonna look like and what additional staff and equipment and stuff.
I mean, acres again, I know it's a quarter.
Yeah, just a little under, but yes, it's a very large,
No, you also that.
yeah, yeah, it is, and the majority of it will be held in conservation easement. Approximately, 320 something acres, 326 acres approximately, I believe will be in conservation. And then so 326 in conservation easement, and I think about 15 to 16 that is not, so it comes to that 346. And the acreage that is not in conservation easement really is targeted for the further development, the entry road, and being able to have some of those parking lot and amenities.
But the county already, the commissioners have already allocated that over 7 million
And bond
in
funds,
bond funding.
That's like for improvements.
Hmm.
That's for improvements, once the.
development,
Right.
Yeah,
Not the actual.
and we'll bring all of that, we'll bring all of that.
Conversation, I mean, this is what it's all about. Y'all. So we've got the people that if they don't know the answer, they know the people who know the answers, and they can ask and they can bring back. And that's it's all about. Don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah, for sure, please do. And we've had some really great conversations with the state and gotten some clarification. And I will tell you right now that one of the clarifications that came to us was originally we were under the impression that you could only apply for Orla one time. And we got clarification that if we apply for Orla for acquisition, we may go back and request Orla funds for development. And that was a huge new understanding that was not previously conveyed. And so we're excited at that opportunity to be able to do that.
Also, do they give you a time frame like if you got bought it this year, acquisition this year, you have to wait 2 years, or could you apply for that?
You could apply for it the next cycle. It's a 2-year cycle.
Okay, all right.
So it would be a 2-year cycle anyway.
Yeah, Parks and Rec shares a grant writer or has their own grant writer or writes their own grants for.
We do not have a grant writer. We.
I would say the number one on the list for new personnel is grant writer.
Yeah, I would say that we're getting good.
Unless Adam wants to.
I would say, we've been working collaboratively with, economic development, who's been not writing grants for us, but, working in close collaboration to like help with some of the administrative tasks of what comes with all of those grants and what can be leveraged, and ensuring that we're staying on top of all of what needs to be submitted in order and helping keep on track. And so I would say as a county, we're trying to work together to bring that better in alignment so that it doesn't all fall on these two young.
So speaking of grant writing,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so I'll go ahead and take over. I'll take the baton. Yeah, so I actually did write a grant, first one that I've done by myself, and kind of was a shot in the dark because we didn't have half the things we needed, but it was an ADA accessible grant for the playground that we talked about at the sports park, and they funded all the projects for the ADA grants. So we got $500,000 for the playgrounds. And we're gonna kind of roll that into some other components of that phase 2 Inca destination project. So just this morning, I wrote the RFQ. We're probably looking at doing the concession / bathroom / ranger station, remodeling that whole building out there, doing more of a forward facing ranger station like what they have at Lake Julian, and then adding more storage and remodeling the bathroom. And then also as part of that will be the pavilion and putting in a whole new pavilion out there. So we'll essentially have a new playground, pavilion, and whole ranger station bathroom storage type thing.
That was
So
a big trip to East Side.
Some good news, some good news.
Amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's actually a great new grant that they started out of the PARTIF funds. And I don't think a lot of people knew about it, so. Yeah. We do plan to apply every year because there's a lot of ADA issues we can address in our parks. Mhm. It's part of. So you do have the PARTIF grant still, but then this is kind of a subsection of that PARTIF grant. So it was a MAC ask was $500,000, so we asked for the max and
White ass.
yeah. Never hurts, never hurts. And that's another thing that we're working with one of the staff from the Economical Development Office, because there's also this Trails app, Allstate Trails app. Grant, and yeah, application for the grant. And they didn't have enough people apply for that. So there's gonna be funding for additional projects. So our state representative kind of reached out to us and said, you know, apply for this for Ferry Road funds. So we're gonna be looking at doing that too. He's from the RSS, which is the Recreational Services. What's it stand for? Recreational Services.
Yeah.
And his name is Blake. He is in Asheville, actually. He's a great guy. He, you know, helped me through the ADA application, and I think he, you know, really is a good person to have helping us out. So, yeah. So other things, like Julian, we got new benches around the playgrounds, and new grills. So that's nice. And then some new landscaping improvements. And then the bathroom is open now at Lake Julian, that prefab that we had placed out there. And then we're working on doing a new entry sign.
Okay.
Style is going to kind of look like a national park kind of style, kind of the stonework on the sides, and a wooden sign in the middle. And hopefully it will show that entrance a little bit better with all those other businesses coming in right there. So.
I need you to fix to go to like Julian and stop being one of the 10.
Yeah. Somebody's keeping them in business, I guess. Collier Cove might be the biggest anchor, or is it like?
I think Buncombe County Sports Park is.
It's the biggest anchorage.
Biggest advantage of that.
Yeah. Lake Julian seems so large because of the size of the lake, but
Yeah, if you're talking land, but like area, probably included the lake, it's
Mhm.
probably that.
Yes.
yeah.
No, they're good partners.
And then at the sports park, the bathroom is completed, but they're waiting for CO and official sign off from Asheville for the water hookup. So they have water running and they have everything, but you know, it's the whole process of easements and final inspections and everything. So still looking like mid-September. So hopefully by next week, they'll be able to open that thing up. And then
And that was the result also of TDA grant, $750,000 TDA grant that we got. So once that's finished, we'll be able to submit for reimbursement.
no. Yeah, lots of good TDA projects going on out there right now, and that will, you know, kind of transition me into the new turf field project. We have a contract. It is ready to go. All I have to have is final approval by Board of Commissioners next week. So, and we haven't heard any rumblings, knock on wood. So hopefully that will go through next week and we can start on that design process. So that's a good update. And then the disc golf course will be returned to 18 holes, hopefully shooting next month. We're going to do that in-house. You know, we had to remove 3 holes when we put field 8 in that bathroom. So we've been waiting till the bathroom got done. But we'll have it to a full 18-hole course again. So out at Ledges, where you got new picnic tables and benches ordered. So I don't know if you've been to Ledges recently, but those tables need some TLC. So we're going to do what we did at Hominy and go in there and kind of remove all the old concrete ones and replace them with the same style we did at Hominy. So, and then Ferry Road, we're in contract negotiations still. We have a final contract. There's a few steps I have to work through with procurement, a few things we have to check, and then hopefully next week or the week after that, we can start moving that forward with commission.
And high level for Ferry Road includes what pieces?
The Greenway, yep, yeah, Greenway and the trails, yep, so 1.7 of Greenway and 1.9 of natural surface trails. And that will have boardwalk components, an overlook is currently in the design plan. And then hopefully we'll be able to have connectivity to that bridge that's there now, the Frederick Law Olmsted Bridge. So I'll hopefully figure that out. So, yeah, any questions?
Any questions? But once that's finished, what connection is there on each end? I know you said there's a bridge.
So it will end inside Buncombe County property on the one end of the Greenway, but then it will go. No, it will go up into the development. All on that one parcel of land. So they don't have a developer yet to take that over. The county will have a developer that will do all the housing side of things. And we'll kind of be working with the housing portion at that time to get more of a finalized trail in Greenway. But it will curve back into that development. We also have to look at and design temporary parking locations. And then where we can have full-time parking locations once that development's done. So our designer is going to have to work heavily on the back end of this project, making sure that the developer is not placing things.
But it doesn't go all the way down to the Pratt and Whitney Bridge.
It does. It does.
It does.
It will in fact.
It will at the end. So that's the component right now that is kind of challenging. Is most of the section of Greenway within Ferry Road, the actual parcel, will be completed 100% CD in this design, but it will only take us to 30% CD for that connectivity because the elevation is so different there. There's a lot of things they have to figure out. There's different landowners. The city of Asheville has a big structure there that we might have to work around. The old water plant. So we're gonna be chugging along with the one section before we get to that connectivity, but that is a part of the project. It's finding out how to do that
Yeah, but that's
connectivity.
Because I think when they built the bridge, they
Yeah.
put a section on there for bicycles.
Yeah.
So people could live there and ride their bicycles to work.
Yep, and that's the big component, and then we're talking long-term, once we get across that bridge, how it can even go farther. And then also how you can tie it into property across, like the Arboretum. Our economic development office has good relations with all those partners. It's just finding out how we can do it.
That's great.
And the Arboretum is a good partner. They've had conversation. They're very interested in that connectivity as well. So looking forward to that.
Partnerships, grants.
Bill,
Thanks, sir.
Bill.
Okay, Ms. Liz.
All right, so this update is actually from Max Stanley, who's out doing core programming right now. So this was the update he asked me to give, and I added a few things in. One, we have a new program assistant who was hired, actually started the same day I did, Caitlin Fogarty. And we are currently in the process interviewing tomorrow for a second position. So, as we, develop and implement new programming, we've mentioned we'll need additional staff. So, we have a new staff hired and one coming. We've had 3 events since the last meeting. We had the fall camp out in August. We had about 15 families with 60 people in attendance, which was great. We had a lot of fun. A bit of a downpour in the afternoon. We expected some folks to head out, but everybody stayed. And it was a lot of fun. Kids fishing tournament happened towards the end of August. The winner largest fish was 22.5-inch bass. So that was a good turnout and some good fishing as well. And this last weekend, we had the bike rodeo and safety day. They moved from the new location from the training center to Buncombe County Sports Park, which seemed to be a good move. It had some more space, so folks, kids were able to ride their bikes around. We have a lot of Buncombe County partners there, the sheriff's office, Asheville PD, EMS, and one of the fire trailers, in addition to the bike rodeo, and then gave out free helmets from the NC DOT helmet grant we received. And then the remaining helmets that were not given away, we'll give some away at Fall Fest, Halloween, and then also looking at maybe some smaller, at least one more kind of smaller community bike rodeo. Let's see, we've also Special Olympics fall sports are gearing up. We've got soccer and tennis starting soon, and then we'll be doing a golf clinic in October. We did not get enough athletes to do a golf clinic, but perhaps in the future, so starting with a golf clinic. And then also there was a Special Olympics fundraiser for North Carolina on Labor Day, which was rappelling off the Renaissance Hotel, which was a pretty neat event. May see if we can get more involved with in 2025. And then for core programming, it has started back up for the fall. And we are looking at doing some new locations. I actually have a meeting with Ingrid this afternoon to talk about going into Emma. And then Matt has also been talking about with somebody at Deaverview, so we would go there as well. So trying to expand. What was that?
Take some of the bike.
That's what I was thinking. So we can have those there as well. So trying to expand that core programming to, again, rural, underserved communities. And then also coming up, we did 2 days of spring day camps in the fall. We're gonna do that in the spring. We're gonna do that this fall as well. 1 day at Owen, 1 day at Lake Julian. And we'll look to maybe expand those in the future to like Leicester and other places. We have the IDD fishing tournament coming up early October, and then following October 19th. So any questions for programming events?
No.
It's a little team doing a lot. It's been fun. And so my plug is going to be if you want to volunteer for activities, let us know. We can always use some extra support. So.
Any questions?
We can find all the ways to volunteer on the website too.
We're working on that. Yeah, that's one of the pieces under my umbrella will be kind of strengthening our volunteer program, educating folks on the opportunities, and be able to recruit more volunteers to get folks involved.
Any questions? Okay.
You want me to keep going? All right. So we have 7 people on the board currently. There should be 9, so we have 2 openings. I think the best thing is that I'll send out the link. So we want to do some recruitment for new members. So I guess if you all want to share it with folks, I'll send out the link to you that you can share where people can apply. And I will also send out information in terms of what districts we are in need of. And I believe we're also looking for someone who's kind of involved with the programming side. So I wanted to give you an awareness of that. One thing that Allison, Thomas, and myself have been working on are business plan draft goals for fiscal year 26. It's 2 years, fiscal year 25, fiscal year 26, 4-3 calendar year 26.
No, 26.
I think it'll be calendar year 26. So one of with the business plan draft goals, there are gonna be SMART goals with initiatives under them. So a way to measure them, and then initiatives. One of the goals needs to address something from the employee engagement survey that was given out earlier this spring, I believe, and the results came out this summer, and also must have a goal focused around equity. So those were 2 of the requirements. And so the first draft goal for us is reducing employee engagement survey unfavorable score for cross-team collaboration to 20%. So one of the things in Parks and Recreation is we work with a lot of other departments, general services,
Health and Human
Services. So standardizing that process, helping. So one of the initiative with that is to kind of create a standardized process for our department to work with others so that we can hopefully find that employees have less frustration and better experience with cross-team collaboration. Number 2 is to increase Parks and Recreation participation in programs and events by residents in rural areas and marginalized communities by 20% from calendar year 2025 to calendar year 2026. So one of the things I'll also be working on is one, we've been tracking, the number of events and number of participants. However, we don't know who those participants are. And so we'll be adding in a survey for participants for events, where do you live, and other demographic information, so we actually know who's participating. So our goal will be to get that out, to get a baseline in 2025 and then increase that in 2026.
Those are the SMART goals, right?
Yeah,
That's good.
the next goal is to increase cost recovery for the Parks and Recreation budget. Number 4 is to, and I think this is, some people were kind of asking about this earlier in terms of finding finances going forward. Expand, maintain cultural and recreational assets through an increase of the Parks and Recreation per capita expenditures to at least 25% of the national average for fiscal year 2026. And so the average per capita spend is $99.47 per capita. We're at $873, so 25% would bring us to $24.87.
That's kind of sad, but we're only looking at 25%.
It's quite a large increase.
Yeah.
Um,
To the commissioners.
Yes.
All of these goals are goals that we are proposing in-house and working through with our county, our working through our assistant county manager, and then bringing forward, and then those uplifting and supporting in through the strategic goals that commission has over on this. And so those are our business goals internally for what we're trying to get to and narrow down to what we can achieve. Yes.
So,
Good thing.
I got to read the numbers again.
Proposals, these are adopted, what's the national?
$99.40.
And we spent $8.
Yes.
70%.
I want to make sure that one.
Consider, wow.
Well, can I ask a question, just?
Yeah.
You know what the photo of them is the fact that we have a city and a county, and some counties don't, like, I mean, Mecklenburg County doesn't do that. I'm saying, is that number skewed because, like, in maybe a county like Wake County, they just have Wake County Parks and Rec, right?
No, they have City of Raleigh,
They do.
Town of Cary.
Okay, so I'm saying that, I'm just trying to make sure, I don't know, yeah.
No, it's a national average.
And it's per capita.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
per capita.
Yeah, Asheville would have their own per capita, the county has.
Cities, based on what you bring
And
in.
counties have their own as a whole.
So based on our expense, our budget, and versus how many people.
Right, I mean, I was saying that it should be equitable because the people who have more money. It's not based off how much you spend, it's based off what, you know, your budget basically is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just sad.
So we're doing a lot with what we have. Yeah.
I don't
We're doing a lot. Thomas mentioned this earlier, but the commissioner adoption of 3 separate master plans associated with the system-wide Parks and Recreation plan. And then number 6 would be creation of 2 divisions within the Parks and Recreation Department, the Parks Division and the Recreation Division. So I think that that ball has already started going, but there's some other specifics within that as part of the strategic business.
And we'll come to you in November and we'll do kind of a high level conversation. We'll look at like what we're going and have conversation with you all about thoughts and direction and things that you think would be a good efficient use of.
So if you look at Parks and Rec, here's Allison. Here are these 2 lovely people. Everybody else in Parks and Recreation comes to those 2 sides.
Yep.
Okay.
Number 3 on my other item is the advisory board for October. Just laying this out here again, I think Allison or myself will probably follow up with an email, but we would like to get together with the board. And to continue to see how we can work together, moving forward. Anything you want to add to that, Allison?
What we'd like to propose right now, and I'd like you to go back and look at, is Wednesday, October the 30th. And so I would like you all to look at your schedules for that. We will send something out more formalized to see where that works for people and where it does not.
Halloween is-
It's before Halloween.
Well,
Me to the-
I'm gonna go get candy.
Some people say Friday, November
Yes.
1st.
No, there you go, there you go.
Exactly. But do you have like a time frame on it?
Yeah, well, what we'd like to be able to do is, I'd like to do it in the morning if possible, but we're gonna reach out to you all and kind of. I guess we'll probably try to do a doodle poll to see what times kind of work best. You know, in my ideal world, it would be great to do a morning, and it would be nice to have a couple of hours and then provide lunch for everybody, and then the board could go, and then the rest of the day, staff can continue on moving some things forward internally as well. And one of the goal, yeah, so the goal is a couple of things. The major goal is to really look at where we're going as a department, what the board can play in that, where the strengths and interests of this board lies to help be able to move things forward, so that you all are coming up with initiatives with the staff that you all are helping to lead. So that we are just not doing informational with you and you're not just volunteering, but what types of things can be best utilized through the board, that are board initiatives that you all can help push forward and we can support as well as you supporting initiatives that we have going on, and that we could really kind of start making it a more active, engaged. We really want people that are like engaged, and we want to make sure as we're bringing in new people to the advisory board that we have the breadth of experience and interests that is all encompassing of large Buncombe County. We have a great deal of folks that are interested in greenways and open space, and that's wonderful and that's beautiful. We're starting to really try to work up, like, what does the programming aspect of things look like, and sports and active recreation as well. Correct. And so, but being able to have a good group and looking at outdoor recreation and community, right? And so really having those conversations and seeing where are the gaps that exist on our board and what can we do in order to better build.
Right, actually, I would suggest also that when you send out the information, that you put in some sample questions
Okay,
for advisory board people to think about, to bring to the meeting.
That'd be good.
yep, gotcha.
Get the brain going prior to coming.
But
Sounds
that,
good.
I was just saying, getting the brain going prior to coming.
yeah,
Awesome. The next one there is the Recreation Advisory Board procedures. I think we'd like to review those, perhaps at the next meeting. And I think Allison was mentioning perhaps adding in a piece on attendance, just with 6 meetings in a year. Making sure that folks, if you missed 1 meeting or 2 meetings, you missed half a year. Again, we're moving towards this more active board. And so I was gonna email those out, make sure you have board members read those, suggest any changes. But bring some ideas for if there are any for November's meeting. Just want to give a heads up on that as well. Great.
And we've been having that conversation, Carol has mentioned it a couple of times, so now's the time to start pushing it forward.
And then the last one here, following up on the meeting minutes from last meeting, I noticed that there was parks visitation. Sounds like there was, for whatever reason, didn't end up happening. And I wanted to reach out to see if anybody did want to visit any parks or have any particular interest, any specific parks or anything like that.
I think he was going to, but I don't think he had participation, he was gonna go to Albany.
He set out some dates.
Yeah.
I think
And I think it's just more.
So was interest, wanted to see if we could, we can, if there's interest, we can work on finding a date and time that works for the majority type of thing.
I wouldn't think want to visit, I couldn't go on that date.
Okay.
But I don't wanna have a park visitation for one person.
Yeah.
It's like, on a personal note, it's like, I remember the 2 days back-to-back we were gonna do, and it's like. That, like, I'm not retired, so I can't.
Yeah.
just Squirrel away.
For sure.
I know in past meetings, we've kind of jumped around to like, this seems to be home base, East Backville, that we have gone to other libraries, and we did have a meeting at Julie. So perhaps we could take a more strategic approach with where we hold these meetings, so that instead of trying to get everyone on one page, it's like, we're already somewhere in the park applications to be brought into that, I don't know.
I have a proposal.
Go ahead.
Maybe I could give a Beaverview update on Beaverview, no? Maybe we could do that, so. We'll just coordinate with Southern Appalachian Highland Conservancy and maybe we can do that.
We could run all the way to the top.
That's where meetings in a mountaintop. Or is there's no covering.
I mean, we could have a meeting at West Asheville Library and then go to Beaverview from there.
Or
at-
schedule it at Beaverview, but if it rains, we could go to the.
Yeah, that would also work, yeah.
Yes, we'll need to make sure that we can also make it public. So,
Mhm.
people want us to be able to join virtually and attend virtually, yes.
Did you all at the last meeting cover what you're gonna be doing with Harmony? Did I miss that? In July or?
No, we didn't, have specific conversation about what we're gonna be doing with it. I can tell you, if you're so asking about that.
Actually, we could just throw it in a whole nother.
No, and we can bring an update. I will tell you that, so yes, the French Broad River Outfitters, their lease is expiring. It's been extended to go through, October, which is their full season. And so they're going through their full season over there. Because of the conservation easement does not allow for the operations of, a business out of that location. Right now, the plan is that we will be working to, do a kind of an overall plan for ensuring that that full peninsula becomes public park, and that we can work on having an accessible entryway into the French Broad. And so we are looking at expanding the park that is currently there to include the peninsula, and then to be able to have accessibility for everyone. Yeah, we love it.
So yeah, we can, it sounds like maybe trying to coordinate meetings with visits might be a good idea. I'll keep brainstorming that. And if you guys do have specific, if anyone has specific requests that, hey, we wanna go to this park and this time works for me, we can definitely make that happen. So, if I reach out, that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
You hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Any updates from the board, anything that wasn't covered that you'd like to share? Thank you.
Could we talk about the subcommittee for?
I think at our next meeting,
Yes.
we're gonna think a little bit more concrete moves with. Each other thing, so I'd wait until we have. An actual agreement, that doesn't say we're like, they're mostly agreed on what we're doing.
Still considering.
And so just to be specific, you're talking about the bond funds
Yeah,
for
for
the.
the passive recreation. Rough numbers, we had about $11 million to allocate out. We had about $11 million for that application, so I should say 10 and 10, it's probably a little bit more accurate. And our meeting next Tuesday. We're hoping to get in agreement with what we're going to push forward and propose to the county commissioners. At which point they can do with the piece, but that will be our voice, which carries a lot of weight.
So if I understand correctly, we will be looking for an update on the Wednesday 30th meeting, kind of get some ideas about that. But our next regular board meeting is Tuesday, November 12th. Lots of things happening between now and then, but that's next regular meeting.
Just to clarify, are we having that at East Hampton Library or does the place to be determined? It says at East Hampton Library, but we, just
Yeah, we can have a discussion about that and then send out proposals and see if there's.
it's fine. I just,
It'd be really nice if we had a place of our own, maybe, wouldn't
Someday, and I do just want to.
$9 for it.
You know, I'm all for going to different locations and being able to share that. We do need to make sure that we can make sure that they're accessible because these are open public meetings that people need to be able to join virtually. And two, we've got to just be able to give proper notification to the community for the sake of where these are being held. So we just take those into consideration.
Just need to remember that this department operates under the umbrella of Buncombe County and all the ordinances and bylaws, we would call them that. Have to within that. So things might sound grand to us, but in order to work up to the bureaucracy to make it really happen, might not be able to do that. But I'm sure they'll try. Great meeting. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate everything this fine staff does. And welcome, Liz.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.